Hey there, Stephanie Joy with All Things Social Security and the Law Practice of Joy Disability. Here's a short little segment from our recent live stream Q&A that we have every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel, All Things Social Security. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will be sure to get to them. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.
Hey, guys. How is everybody? Shiloh, I see you are here bright and early with 5 million questions. We'll see. We'll get through them, but we'll probably jump around because I don't want to make everyone else not be heard. Are you? Dimple's in the house. Dimple says yes, she can hear us. Okay, good. Guys, you know Shannon Justice of Justice Disability. Shannon's in Kentucky, right? And Shannon, do you see the postings part? The
comments, yeah, I see them.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to put your website in there, so if anyone wanted to reach out to you, feel free. You know, you could just type it right in there. It'll come up on the page. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll let me.
Okay. Anyway, so Shannon's been here before a couple times. So we're gonna share your questions, and you can see maybe a couple different perspectives and stuff like that. All right, so let's go back up to the start. I'm going to start with Jen asked, thoughts on crying at a hearing. I listened to the recording of my first hearing. I started crying a lot sooner than I remembered it happening. For mental health case, it's giving unstable or showing unstable. I have thoughts on that. Shannon, do you want to provide your opinion?
Go ahead.
You want to pass? If you are brought to tears at a hearing, and that's part of your impairment anyway, easily brought to tears, I say then it's not bad. Obviously, you don't want to make up the tears, but if that's something that you're prone to do, I've had plenty of clients who, and they are probably more physical, less mental, but a little of the mental, whereas, maybe you consider your case mostly mental. It was not taken badly by a judge, particularly someone who's dealt with chronic pain and stuff like that. But if your medical record, if it's a mental health claim primarily, and your mental health records all speak to how you are, what is the expression? It's like prone to crying, like you can't control that emotion that causes it might be like dysregulation. Yeah, and it specifically says you were prone to crying in a situation where most people don't have your impairment. I think it can't hurt you because that is a stressful time of hearing. Even if you're angry like you are at the system and stuff like that, you've been dealing with your pain and your struggles for this long, and now someone's listening to you. I almost equate it to this, and it's different, but just bear with me. I was thinking about this like 2 nights ago. Did you ever, Shannon, everybody might have. I remember being younger, and if I played a lot of sports and stuff, and if I ever got bopped in the nose, say, or somehow hurt, not chronically, but like an acute pain at the time, and you're on the ground and you're toughing it out, you're being tough, you're just clinging to whatever hurts really, really bad. And the second someone would come up to you and be like, "Oh, Stephanie, are you okay?" And you look up and here you are tough, and you're like, and you start crying because someone's showing kindness when you're just trying to get through this pain. And that was purely just like, I don't know. And then a similar thing might be where it could be a sadness, and I say this from a person that hasn't fortunately had to deal with mental health illness or anything. But you go through a bad breakup, and goodness knows, guys, I didn't get married till I was nearly in my mid-30s, so suffice it to say, I dated a lot of frogs, dated a lot of nice guys too, and then, at times when my heart was broken. And I remember, you're toughing it out when your heart's broken, and you're trying to get through life, trying to go to work, you're trying to do blah, blah, blah. And you don't really want to talk about it. Like, I wasn't the type that would want to talk about it because I could then I'll get emotional, right? You're just trying to get through it for enough time where it's no longer so painful. But when someone would ask you, "How are you doing?" you could feel yourself welling up, and the struggle was to not, because it's like, no, I don't want to be crying. I cried when it happened. I cried in my own private room. So I almost feel like when you're in front of someone who's asking you about your impairments, it can be, and particularly if you've got crying kind of dysfunction anyway, I think that would be something that I would expect someone to do.
Yeah, what I tell everybody is obviously we don't want any fake crying, but what happens is we get into the hearings and the emotions take over, talking about the things you can't do anymore and explaining your daily activities and things like that. So I tell everybody, when you start feeling emotional, your first instinct when you're around other people is to hold it back and to keep it to yourself and act like you're okay. I always tell my clients, don't do that during the hearing. I'm not saying fake cry, but let it happen. The judge needs to see that how much it bothers you during that time that we're talking about it. So
yeah. And it will show that at the very least you can't keep the composure, the professional composure, that would be expected for normal to low end stress things at a job, perhaps.
Yeah.
It just, I think getting through a hearing without doesn't mean that you don't have the impairments that you claim, but why hold back evidence? Why struggle so hard not to, you know? So I don't think you should worry about that, Jen, if you do it.
Yeah.
If it happens, you know. It happens a lot. I mean, and I'm talking about for the physical people, but a lot of times, I would say more often than not, way more often than not, my physical clients, they've been dealing with this for so long, and it's scary because usually we're starting to get older, and you know, everyone worries about mortality too. But like their life has changed. The pain is that's a former client calling me through, but I can't talk to you right now. Come to the live stream, my friend. Goodness gracious, he should be at the live stream. I'm gonna have to. That's funny, right? From like 2 years ago, but we're friendly like, online. Yeah, I don't even know where I left off. But oh yeah, the paying people. A lot of times you'll start getting they call things like there's something called adjustment disorder when you're having a hard time adjusting to the fact that you're no longer the breadwinner. You're no longer this. You guys, you can't give your kids what you were giving them before. You know, it could be like marital relationships or significant other relationships are now going sideways because of the pain-related symptoms. So I see people develop anxiety over their condition and depression. I would say more often than not. And they might have had an underlying propensity for that, but they didn't have to treat for it or not much or whatever. And now it's like, you know, life is so changed, right? Vin Jones. Hey, are they changing? Nice to meet you, Vin. Are they changing the day they pay you for Social Security disability benefits this month? Not that I know. Why? Did you hear something? It's usually the Wednesday that your birthday lines up with. Obviously, if there's a holiday, that can change it. You know, like it might stem over to a couple days. Larocho says, do you have to give consent before taking medications? With Maha, Progress, and Casey means as Surgeon General, do you have to consent? Do you have to give consent? What do you mean? It's time to rethink healthcare. Functional medicine is the future of true wellness. I don't know the answer to that. That's outside of my pay grade. Do you know what she's talking about? I mean, you give consent to treatment. We all have to sign that stuff when we go in the doctor's office. They prescribe you something. You pick it up at the pharmacy. You choose to take it or not take it. I don't know. Who are you consenting to? Yourself? I don't understand the but I agree with you. I think we definitely need to rethink healthcare. Atrocious. Oh my goodness. It is. I don't even like the system. My daughter just had an issue, and it might be a chronic one, which would be unfortunate. And just getting appropriate care and anyone to pay attention. I don't know. It's just horrible. It has to do with like stomach issues. But it's like, I just find that our medicine has gone down the tube so much. LaRocha says, I prefer functional medicine because it focuses on root causes and overall wellness rather than relying solely on, oh, I'm with you. There are safe alternatives that work for many people. I agree with you. I will say this. I happen to think functional medicine is the bomb. From a legal perspective, if it's not MD or DO, it's going to weaken the case. It just is, because the law is still the law of what the evidence is that, you know, can be considered for certain parts of what you need to meet. And it's a struggle. You know, I have a client who does functional, and I would like to see, I'm always nagging for, you know, more therapies because I need something. I mean, there's a reason a lot of people don't take medications when they're prescribed, and it's because the side effects are horrendous. And I think that's true of most medications. And I get that entirely, but they need to be discussed with the doctor why I'm not taking XYZ medication. I need you to do something more homeopathic for me. And I'll tell you, it's not really taken well by the SSA or even the judges. So I have had them, I have won them, but it was not, I felt like it was, when I took the case, it was one of those cases that you took because you know the person's disabled, but you don't think they're necessarily going to win no matter what you do. But I thought they deserved a chance. And it turned out being wonderful, but that's not really, I don't necessarily expect that, even though I take those cases. What do you think, Shannon?
Definitely makes it more complicated.
What's that?
It definitely makes it more complicated to get them approved, you know, that kind of thing. Because
It
they
is.
assume that if you're in bad enough pain, you'll do whatever the doctors say.
Yeah, I would add this, LaRocha, if you are going to be using functional medicine, which is what I would want to use, and I wouldn't mind getting a functional medicine doctor right now, just for I don't really have a big problem, but I don't know if my health insurance will cover it, that's a problem. At least try to get the diagnostics periodically to show that condition exists and you're not just treating naturopathically for an alleged thing. because a lot of those claims, pain is subjective, fatigue is subjective. So you almost have to really work twice as hard, I think, on your case to have still what's probably going to be less evidence, but at least it might be, Ringel says maybe x-rays. I forget what the question is, Ringel. Grizz is in the house. Mr. Montana. Hit the like button, guys. Yeah, come on. What is it, Christina? I don't think she's here, but she always says like, share, subscribe. And everyone says, you got to say that out loud. Okay. Thank you, Ringo. Gosh, guys, we're way over time. And Shiloh, I know we didn't get to all your function report questions. Sean Bailey says, I'm 54 years old. Recent visual test showed fields of 15 degrees in both eyes. What should I do? I don't know. Disabled or not disabled? That's the question, right?
I and see. I'm
That-
familiar with that listing.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you meet a listing or not meet a listing? I mean, I don't have them all memorized, the numbers either. But if you do, and at 54, you probably have other problems too, Sean. If you want to reach out, do that free eval at joydisability.com. It's up in the link at the up top left, and I'll take a look at it for you. If it's something you're thinking of doing and just want to see, you could try to pull up the listing. You can even bring it to your ophthalmologist, I would think, and you could say, yes, this is met because of XYZ. And you could even file solo if you think that's the case. I will just say, I just had the hearing in January. It was a young person who was at hearing when they came to me, and he felt that, it's a listing and we should went on listing, but he'd been denied twice by SSA. And we took it to hearing, and he's definitely, he had to peer, go right up to the screen to see the judge. It did. He was disabled for other reasons. And in fact, we did win on a listing, but for a different listing. But that's what my whole point is. I pushed for the listing for visual. That's not what there was a medical expert at the hearing, and he was a sweet old guy. And he was focused on this other listing. And now I feel like he could have met both, but I'm not going to sit there and make an argument when my guy's going to win. Not like his evidence is going to go away. Anyway, I'll take a look at it if you want. And I'm sure Shannon would be happy to as well.